Hello, and welcome to Time to Get Fit. I'm John Pearlstone. I'm a trainer and fitness consultant with over 20 years experience. I am also the founder in 2008 of the Eating and Exercise Timing Fitness Plan called EAT, and wrote a book this last year called It's Not What You Eat, It's When You Eat It, which described the guidelines of the EAT timing diet. And that's the purpose of these shows, is to talk to you about how timing can work for weight loss, fitness, and a much better relationship with food, and give you a little bit of detailed science about why timing can be a far better solution than other restrictive and deprivation-based diets you may have tried in the past. So tonight we're going to talk about exercise timing. And I can't think of anything in the entire world, with all the confusion out there with nutrition and weight loss strategies, nothing rivals the confusion about exercise. So I want to introduce you to the world of exercise timing and let you understand just how different things can be when you use timing with your exercise program. Now, does exercise timing matter? Let's just put that on the table right now and get it behind us. Let's say, in this example, you decide to eat 4 or 5 slices of this pizza within about 20 minutes of your exercise. Do you think that would affect your exercise performance? Okay, just think about that for a moment. Compare that to if you did your exercise and then ate 4 or 5 slices of pizza. How would that affect your exercise performance? Do you see a difference? I'm not going to explain the difference to you. I'm going to assume you kind of get it. And as far as I'm concerned, that proves that there's an unbreakable relationship between eating and exercise timing that goes far beyond all these nutritional and metabolic things we can talk about. They are related in so many ways you'll want to understand. But if you understand they're related, we can wrap up right now. You now know something you didn't know and something you can start to really take advantage of and use in your weight loss and fitness and relationship with food efforts, and that is timing. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and continue because I think there might be more things you're interested in. But truly, that's the message. Timing matters. Let's go back to some basics from our prior shows. And you can go back and watch those shows on YouTube. They're on our website. And remind yourself all the studies and science behind these key fundamentals of the EAT timing diet. Number 1, you can lose weight and become more fit just by changing the timing of your eating and exercise. Harvard studies, a variety of other studies, and years of experience can prove to you that that is very possible. Number 2, no unhealthy foods, only unhealthy times. Tonight, we're going to talk about how exercise changes the health construction of the foods you're eating. Very interesting and important to understanding the way to use exercise timing. And number 3, obesity research proves that long-term weight loss is impossible. I mean, why do I continue to bring up such a negative thing? Because if I don't, you're going to assume that you just need to try harder and keep doing the same things over and over. Timing is designed around the fact that everything out there has been proven to be impossible and gives you a completely new way to look at it. And exercise timing is a big part of it. So that's why you want to remember that's a key fundamental of the timing diet. Let's turn to specific issues regarding exercise timing. Okay? I've got 4 basic facts, but I cover 3 in this slide. We'll hit the big one in a minute. All right, first of all, let's be clear that exercise timing affects your metabolism. There's an entire science dealing with how exercise and the timing of it with relationship to when you eat and what you eat will affect your metabolism, and that is called nutrient timing. And we can spend detailed shows talking about all the metabolic and hormonal issues that change when you break muscle down and use cardio exercise in your daily life. But I need you to know some other things about exercise before we start talking about all the metabolic issues, because they don't matter much if you don't understand how to build and stay with an exercise program. Okay? Number 2, it affects your eating. Everything about your game plan for exercise will affect what you eat. How much are you going to eat? Some people eat more just because they say, well, I exercise, so it's okay. Some people eat different foods because they exercise. Some people eat, and again, when? They change their timing of their meals because they know they're going to exercise. Very few people eat 5 large slices of pizza right before they exercise. Okay? They recognize that exercise has to be done with a certain stomach situation, a certain amount of fullness, or not full, and therefore they don't do it. Well, that was the exercise timing affecting your eating. And finally, what nutrition? Nutrient timing, well, like I said, an entire science telling you what the optimal foods to eat are and even the proper equations of how much of each type of food to eat to maximize your nutritional value for your metabolism before you exercise, during exercise, and after exercise. So it affects your eating in a very profound way. And number 3, it affects the results of your exercise. And this is really the heart and soul of what you want to be learning tonight. And that is that your short-term goals for exercise, how many infomercials and coaches and people are out there hyping, get fit in 30 days, transform your body in 90 days. Short-term goals, short-term goals, short-term goals. And then that's all timing, right? They're giving you a time period by which you'll reach a certain milestone. Versus long-term goals, which is, okay, I'm 90 days, I'm a new man, but now what? Boy, I got 50 years left to live. Do I get to stop and maintain that body I built in that 90-day painful, hideous program? Or am I going to have to stay with that for the rest of my life, which I don't want to do, and science says I can't do. So that's important to understand short-term goals. And then I want to teach you long-term goals, because long-term goals is really what most people are after. They want to develop skills, and they want to know that it wasn't a waste of time. And how do we do that? EAT has a basic fundamental philosophy that you'll want to make sure you understand and see if it can be workable in your plan and in your lifestyle. And that is, before we pursue a fitness level, if we're ever going to take on a challenge for a new fitness level, we know how we're going to keep it long term. We have a clear vision of, can we do this for 5 years, and how will we maintain that skill level we develop, that fitness level we develop. That single thought changes everything about the way you want to approach your exercise. And you can think back on your prior exercise efforts, and I'll bet you can think of examples where it's like, boy, I wish I would have thought about what happened after that class ended, or that that video series ended, or I stopped going to the various classes, or let go of my trainer. What did I do then? I just let it all go. That is certainly not what most people's goals are all about, and EAT can get you where you want to be to make sure you always are aware of it. So let's look at a couple specific examples near and dear to my heart, basically my story a little bit. I used EAT timing and EAT exercise to complete the Napa Marathon in 2010. I trained exactly 5 training runs. I did my other exercise routines, which you'll be learning on this show, to prepare, and I only had to prepare with 5 training runs, did no other jogging or running of any sort, and did not have to stop once, completed it in just over 4 hours in 2010. Okay, I knew going in that I was going to try to complete a marathon. And when I did that, it's like, I don't want to lose that fitness level. I want to be able to run a marathon indefinitely. I want to be able to maintain that level of fitness. Now, be clear, I hate jogging. I hate road running. I don't enjoy it at all. It's not an exercise I would ever choose. And yet, my exercise program built that level of fitness for me without needing to do all the hours and hours of road work and jogging that most people think is essential. I've seen 6-month training programs for these marathons where you're running 5-6 days a week. I did none of that. Okay, I did my consistent exercise routine, which I'll give you a few highlights of tonight, and a lot more as we go forward in future shows. But 2 years later, I was still able to, on a whim, drive up to Mount Lassen at 11,000 feet, hike it at a brisk pace, easily, comfortably. Now, that is in some ways harder than a marathon. In some ways, it's easier than a marathon. The point is the fitness level was still there. This very year, 2014, I did the same thing in Maui at the mountain there, the volcano, which name I can't pronounce, and I'm going to try. But that was at 11,000 feet in ice cold conditions, no problem managing a long hike there. And then just recently went out and ran 10 miles without having run for a year just to see if my fitness level's still there. That is the fundamental philosophy EAT wants you to understand, which is if you're going to choose a fitness level, you're trying to hang on to it. You're building your program to make sure you maintain it and enjoy it. Okay, let's move further. It's not just about what you can do impressively with your exercise. That's all wonderful and great, but we have other issues that we do exercise for. Exercise is one of the few things that there are a lot of studies to support really improves your health in a lot of ways. Okay, it could range from triglycerides to blood pressure to minimizing risk of cancer in several instances. There's proof that that happens when you exercise routinely. So I watch my blood readings carefully. And in 2007, before I got involved with EAT, every one of my blood readings was worse than it is now. So I just picked one as an example. Triglycerides fell from 101, and in 2011 they were 47, and I think currently they were somewhere in the low 50s. But the point is, it's the same exercise routine. It's designed to provide weight loss, fitness, which has a physical component and a health component, and lets me eat the foods I want to eat at the appropriate times. So that's important. But there's also living my life. And I want to know, as part of my fitness plan, that I can do the things I want, need, and love to do. And just last year, this was 2013, this is me working on a retaining wall in the back of our house. And it's about 40 feet long. I dug it out completely. I replaced all the boards, did all the work myself, and basically was able to manage that level of fitness, working 3 and 4 hours at a time for weeks on end, and was able to also maintain my exercise routine. That's the level of fitness that EAT can provide if you design your program properly. So it all sounds wonderful, and I'm sure people are watching thinking, that's great, he's Mr. Exercise, Mr. Go Over the Top, Hardcore Fitness. I don't really exercise more than a half hour at any time ever. Just let's be clear about that. This is designed to maximize time efficiency and make sure you get all the fitness benefits you want, because it's a custom designed program that fits what you're trying to do. Maybe you don't want to build a retaining wall. Maybe you have no interest in climbing Mount Lassen. Maybe you just want to be able to walk around the grocery store and be comfortable. You design an exercise program to get that skill and maintain that skill, and I've done that for people, and certainly it would be something anybody who needs it could use EAT exercise timing to take advantage of. But let's turn to what I really want to be the takeaways from this show. And that is, you understand that exercise affects your metabolism. You understand that EAT timing can create an amazing level of fitness that is almost unheard of for the short amount of time you spend exercising. Throw it all out. Don't worry about it if you can't put the must-haves in your life. These are the 2 EAT must-haves for exercise timing, and that is consistency and injury-free. So before you get all fired up about running a marathon and doing all these amazing things, take a step back and say, can my exercise program be consistent, and can it be injury-free? Let's take a look at why. Okay, on this particular chart, I just simply make the point that proves my entire plan, which is everybody decides they're going to skip exercise. They get involved with the program. I can't make it today. I don't feel like today. There's a variety of reasons. I'm too tired. Well, I would like to know how many days you plan to skip eating, because if you're going to rely on exercise in your weight loss and fitness plan, it needs to be there. It's clearly one of the elements that's creating your weight loss and your fitness. And if you're going to eat the same way, whether you exercise or not, how in the world is that exercise going to work for you long term? The answer is it's not. So you see the spotty exercise all over the place and eating every single day. Does that mean I expect you to fast? Absolutely not. But should your eating decisions have a relationship to your exercise decisions? There's absolutely no question about it. And that is a big element of timing that you'll be learning in this various programs we'll be going through. So that's consistency. If you cannot be consistent with your exercise, don't expect it to help you with your goals. It's that simple. And that's probably why it hasn't if you're watching this and don't feel like you've reached your fitness goals. Okay? Number 2, injury-free works for me. This may be more important than consistency, but I rank consistency higher because some people will fight their way through and stay with the program. It's because they got to do it and they want to do it and they get obsessed with it. Great. It's wonderful. But if you get injured, all that's out the window. So if you choose to do these programs, and I've got story after story, and we'll be showing some case studies of people who are telling me how wonderful things like CrossFit are, but now they can't do it anymore because they blew their shoulder out. Well, then it is what caused you harm. It's not, I don't care how fit you got while you're doing it, you can't do it anymore. You're now off your plan, and did your eating change? No. Without injury-free, it can't be a part of a long-term plan. I personally have not been injured in the 7 years I've been doing this program, with the exception, I have to be full disclosure, of 3 days where I was trying to raise my eating up to 10,000 calories a day, doing a little experiment about 4 years ago, and I ended up giving myself a little sciatica, which I recovered from in 3 days, which is kind of unheard of as well. But I think that's what EAT and progressions can do for you. And we talked about progressions at our last show. So the point is, we focus on injury prevention, injury recovery. We don't want to miss exercise due to injury, and that you can probably visualize. That requires a completely different way to approach your exercise plan. We don't go all out day one. We don't tax and risk and stress our bodies. We make sure we build a foundation of strength and preparedness of our bodies to deal with the exercise we're going to give it, and then phase up into the exercise that will ultimately give us these insane levels of fitness. That is how you avoid injury. And even then, I've got a million things to share with you about, once you're at a high level of fitness, how to make sure you stay under those risk levels until you have a reason to risk injury at some point, which may or may not ever happen. So those are the 2 must-haves. Those are the two must-haves, and honestly, it's tempting to end the discussion right here. I have a few more things to share, but if you cannot accept that if you won't be consistent with your exercise, and if you won't work to avoid injury, and never risk injury would be the number one, the way I always phrase it is never risk injury in your exercise, don't expect exercise to benefit you in your weight loss, fitness, and or your relationship with food, okay? Just take a second, let that lock in, because I'm going to start talking about metabolic issues and how wonderful exercise can be to let you eat more, high glycemic carbs and this and that. It's not relevant if you're not going to be consistent and you're not going to work to avoid injury, okay? But that being said, there are metabolic considerations for exercise, and this is really what started the eat, exercise, timing part of the plan. And that is to understand that there are times of day where it makes the most sense to exercise. It's flexible, but there are times that are better than others. Usually it's when you don't have a lot of carbs in your system, and then you have a chance to burn off any remaining carbs, get to a fat burning level, burn off your glycogen stores, and you then would be in a position where your body has to restore those, and it's going to restore them by the carbs you're about to eat. So isn't that wonderful? We all love carbs and all those great foods. That it could be pastas and starches, or it could be candy or ice cream. And if we can use the carbs in our body, well, they have to be restored. And what a beautiful way to do it, by timing. You could eat those and they go right back into the storage bins, and they don't go into fat. Doesn't work exactly like that, but conceptually it does kind of work like that. And you want to learn how that all can benefit you, and that will be a separate program that you'll be able to really dig in and understand. Consistency and injury-free. I'm going to keep pounding it for as long as you ever would see me or know me. There's nothing more important. But metabolic issues are there. And then finally, there are no unhealthy foods, only unhealthy times. We talked about the chocolate cake study on numerous prior shows. The point is that sugar can be extremely helpful in muscle rebuilding and energy recovery after exercise. It is probably one of the most healthy nutrients you can eat at that time, studies prove. And the point is, that makes an unhealthy food, by everybody's definition, very healthy. So it's not the food, it's the timing. And that's something that can change your life. It certainly changed mine, to understand that they can tell you all they want, don't eat this and don't eat that. And when you simply change the timing, somehow it's working different in your metabolism, you want to learn more. You kind of become obsessed, which has been my last 7 years, and I'm happy to share it with you.